Today, we're joined by Simon Hicks, who's the COO of Hargreaves Services. Simon, Hargreaves has reported another strong set of results. Can you give us a quick overview?
Thank you, Scott, and great to be here. Half one, what a fantastic result for Hargreaves. Across our business, we're seeing the revenues holding up and indeed growing. In services, we're seeing volumes up. We're seeing volumes higher than anticipated from HS2 and Sizewell, and we're seeing the other services business continue to roll out those critical contracted services across many sectors. In land, we've realised our first tranche of the renewable sales, and Blindwells has completed on another plot. So land's doing well, going according to plan. And in Germany, we've seen operational performance slightly improve and a bit of uptick in the gate fee, which has allowed us to deliver the dividend back from the joint venture to the group. So overall, results are really good. Revenue in the group is up by 46%. Profits are up by 23%. We've delivered a strong cash return, 8.8 million from the first tranche of renewables, has taken our cash balance up to 37.3 million at half year. So that's allowed us now to increase the dividend by 5.4% up to 19.5p. And we're also looking at returning £15 million to shareholders as was promised. So fantastic half year, looking forward to the second half.
Simon, an excellent set of results. Now, you've announced a period of substantial growth within the services division. Where has this growth come from?
Yes, clearly a lot of growth is coming from infrastructure projects. Our earth-moving business, Backwell's, doing really well on HS2. We're seeing Sizewell start to ramp up. But I think what that masks is a longer-term shift in the services contracted business. We're supplying critical services to critical industries in the UK and overseas. And what we've done in the last 15 years is transitioned away from a solid fuel support business into a contracted services business. Across the land, we're seeing those contracted to people like P66, we're contracted into new waste from energy, we're contracted into aggregates, quarries, all of this supplying critical services into the new growth in infrastructure that we're seeing across the UK. Things that we do are essential to people's lives, industry. So if you take a small example, which I was up at Humberside a few weeks ago, and we're handling all the pet coke for P66. Well, for those that don't know, pet coke is turned into graphite, and graphite is an essential component in the battery for an iPhone. Based on the volumes we're managing for P66, you can argue that Hargreaves has touched almost every iPhone in the world. Nice little story, but what it's demonstrating is that we've shifted in the last 15 years from solid fuels into critical industries. We're now at 70 plus core customers in that services business, and the teams are now thinking about growth, getting close to those customers, understanding where the pipeline comes, and we're seeing the results of 10 to 15 years worth of hard work now.
Now, you've successfully completed the sale of the first tranche of the renewable energy land asset in the period. Now, this has resulted in the board's decision to return up to £15 million of cash to shareholders. May you be able to provide a little more colour on this?
Yes, so we've got a number of schemes. It's conversion of Hargreaves' old legacy land. We've always said see it as book value, and we've been converting that into value. The first of that, which was a tranche we sold earlier this year, was 5 schemes, which were wind farms and access agreements to those wind farms. We're continuing to see that build out now. So the first one we've realised. The next one will likely be at Broken Cross. We've got a 500 megawatt battery we're developing there with partners. So we're expecting that tranche to come next, obviously depending on planning, depending on the developer's timescale. And beyond that, we've got a further wind farm with access agreements and a further solar farm in development. So this is all about realising the value in that land. As we move through those schemes in the next 4 or 5 years, the rest of our land will start to look at for more wind and more solar, which will take us into the mid-2030s. What all this means is we're delivering on that promise to shareholders. Realise the value from that land. We're looking to deliver £15 million this year in coming months to shareholders, which is a 12 to 15% uplift on our current share price, which if you look at today's number, that would take us to around £7.50. So £15 million, about 6% of our share capital will be bought back.
So great news for shareholders. So what are the next steps in realizing value from your renewable energy land assets?
So the next steps for land are to continue to develop that pipeline of renewable assets, continue to develop the pipeline at Blindwells and at Unity, and continue to realise that value. As we're doing that, we're building our services provision into critical infrastructure projects in the UK. So really robust plan, really clear strategy, and teams out in the country delivering that for Hargreaves and the shareholders.
Simon, you've announced continual improvements in HRMS and an exciting investment opportunity into an innovative zinc recycling facility. What will this bring to the group, and what are the timeframes surrounding this opportunity?
HRMS, as shareholders will know, is our joint venture in Germany. That joint venture currently turns steel waste dust into pig iron and zinc concentrate. Lots of research from our teams in Germany and the UK. We've concluded that in order to navigate through what is quite a complex regulatory change in Europe, which is it's called European ETS, which is taxation on carbon, and then another end of that revenue spectrum is CBAM, which is an uplift in prices for imports of heavy goods into Europe. All very complicated stuff, but what it boils down to is the European steel industry is going to become greener, invest in greener technologies like electric arc furnaces. What that means is the amount of dust coming towards DK recycling will increase, and it'll be a dust of around 6 to 7% zinc content. So our technical teams have worked on a project that will remove that zinc from that dust and produce a zinc concentrate. Zinc concentrate widely used in the world and increasingly so. So we've developed that project. We've committed at the Capital Markets Day to invest £18 million of capital into that project. It's supported by the German government by way of grant and soft loan. The first project we're quite cautious on because we're only going to scale it up by 50 times the size of our pilot plant. And then we've got an opportunity to do 2 more on the same land based on the amount of volume we see coming towards us as a result of the legislative change and the zinc dust coming towards us. So really exciting opportunity. The 18 million euros, worth of investment, we're anticipating a 20% return on that. So a lot of hard work. First plant now got the capital approved. Let's get the first one delivered by 2028, and then we'll look at the volumes going forward for the next 2 investments.
Sounds like a very exciting opportunity, Simon. A CEO succession plan was announced today with Gordon retiring this summer and you succeeding him. Congratulations. What specific plans are you going to implement in your new role?
Yeah, wow. I mean, yeah, exciting for me and real lot of thanks to Gordon. I mean, Gordon's been one of the longest serving CEOs on AIM, and Hargreaves has a lot to thank Gordon for. Huge amount of entrepreneurial flair. Where do I take the business forward from that? So I'm inheriting a very solid business, one with a clear plan. Obviously, my skill set is in the services work stream over the last 35 years. So I'll be looking to think about how do we develop that further. For me, it's about the team. How would you enable a team to perform? Individuals, in my mind, win football matches, teams win tournaments and win it for the long game. So how do I focus my time and energy and the executives' time and energy on enabling people to be great? Folk will have seen some strength and depth in our leadership at the Capital Markets Day. You'll have met Sean, who leads our industrial business, Neil, who leads our Blackwell business, Stephen, our CFO, who folk know very well, and we've just appointed our first Chief People Officer, Rachel Ovington. So what does that mean for us? It means that firstly, we really need to understand where our customers are going. We showed folk a snippet of that with our Capital Markets Day presentation, looking at those sectors of connectivity, clean energy, and the environment. We're developing a greater intimacy with our customers bringing our teams together to share ideas, share, work together, learn from each other and talk about solutions. Real great example of that is Zinc, understanding our customers' market. So more of those examples drive that value and growth. Secondly, where do we get the people from? The UK is struggling with skill shortage in infrastructure. Hargreaves brand becoming the one that people want to come and work for. If you take some of the iconic projects we're working on, HS2, Sizewell, the little story about P66, all of those things attract people towards us. It's a really exciting place to work in, hence why we've employed a chief people officer. Encourage people to come to us, invest in them when they're here, developing that talent base, and then delivering on the things we've promised, continuing to roll out that renewables pipeline to deliver value back to the shareholders and cash back to the group, continuing to work in Germany to realise the value in Germany as Germany transitions through that decarbonisation. So a lot going on, really solid base, but getting people focused on sharing things, learning things and talking about things, getting really close to our customers. Exciting future ahead.
Exciting times ahead, Simon. Finally, what can investors expect to see from Hargreaves in H2?
Hopefully more of the same, Scott. We've fantastic first half results. We've got 90% of our revenue secured for the second half. We're looking forward to the second half. We'll continue to deliver on those promises we've made. The executive team, myself, and don't forget Gordon's not going anywhere. He's going to Germany to deliver that project for us. So as a collective executive, we're going to continue to inspire our folk to do great things. For me, it's having the right people in the right place at the right time, doing the right things, wins us more work and continues to grow our business. So more of the same.
Well, Simon, thanks very much for your time today.